Welcome to the July 14th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and I have a brand new microphone that I'm testing out. And this is...
Lotus Prince. There it is.
And you have the same old phone.
Well, it's a microphone.
Nobody's ever really had a macrophone. They have a megaphone, right?
Yes.
But a macrophone is just something that nobody wants to use.
Nah, it seems to be unwieldy.
It's just too... Yeah, but megaphone's even bigger.
Yeah, but you get a little handle. I imagine a macrophone looks like a microphone, except it's just, comically large.
Yeah. We're going to have to see whether this is a thing that actually exists, and it's just, something very specialized.
It's just a guy who yells.
I do not need a megaphone.
I'm going to say something to you, and I want you to just yell it for me. You'll be my macrophone.
All right, well, the first thing that I wanted to talk about this week, Lotus, is that Forbes was not lying, and I was not incorrect in saying that Forbes
or wasn't it Bloomberg?
Oh, was it? Well, Forbes. It was Forbes as well that reported on it. So, my supposition was that their talk about a new Switch hardware was correct because they don't tread on speculation. They must have had some kind of confirmation, behind the scenes, and people were pretty disappointed when they didn't talk about it in the Nintendo Direct. And all of a sudden, Nintendo was like, okay, we actually do have a minor Switch upgrade, but one that's pretty cool, but people were disappointed with, which I could see why they were disappointed with it, but it is...
Yeah, it's not a Switch Pro in the sense of, a PS4 Pro.
Yeah, and... So they're calling it the OLED Switch, and as you might assume, it has an OLED screen, which is something that is preferable. That's really nice. Of course, that's only for the base type of Switch. It is not for the Switch Lite. But of course, if you're into the fidelity of that kind of thing and using that around the house, that might be for you. I typically don't care about that kind of stuff in my portable gaming, but I can see why somebody would like that for sure. It doesn't really affect the gameplay at all. When you're hooked up to the Switch dock.
No, I think the system might have, what was it, 2 more gigs of RAM, something like that. But otherwise the changes are to the tablet.
Well, no, there's one other thing.
Okay.
And it's something that a lot of people overlooked, and it is actually a pretty good thing. It does have hardwired Ethernet now.
All right.
So for online gaming.
Yeah. So basically, as was the case with the Switch Lite, this is another Switch modification, upgrade, that does absolutely nothing for me.
It doesn't do anything for me either, but it does look cool. It has 2 new cool Joy-Cons that look pretty neat. The leading model, it has white controllers, which look pretty nifty on it. It is black rather than gray. Also, it does have a much larger kickstand as well for if you want to set it up for portrait.
I forgot about that. Yeah, the kickstand.
Yeah, so there are some minor differences, and I believe that regular Switches will be made like this from now on, which is good. But it is a minor incremental.
Yeah, it's a regular Switch is it's still $250-$300 retail, and the OLED would be
I think
$250, yeah. And the OLED is $350, I believe it is.
So maybe it is just a completely different SKU. Maybe they're keeping it that way, but Yeah, I mean, it's not what people wanted. People wanted something that was 4K.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's expecting 4K. What I was hoping for though was like 1080p, 60 FPS, and stop the stuttering gameplay on like every multi-platform game that hits it.
That's exaggerated. I mean, I think most games play well on it. It's just there are a few that don't. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I played Switch games, a lot, and I can tell you I've only had major issues with one game, and it later got cleaned up.
Oh, that was Sexy Brutale?
Sexy Brutale, yeah. I actually played and beat the game, and I loved it, but it ran very poorly. But there are some third party games that do have trouble, but there are also plenty of companies that have done very well on it. Ori and the Blind Forest, both of those games perform very well on Switch. When you think they wouldn't. Also, the Doom games, the newest Doom games perform very well. Dark Souls performs very well on it. So I mean,
Dark Souls is an old 2011 game. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is the remastered version, so you got to give it some credit, right? It's the upgraded version, so I mean, it does have problems. It does have limitations, but if programmed correctly and optimized correctly, you can provide a very good experience on there. I would say there are some titles that I would never point you to doing that. Especially like you kind of were hinting at, like multi-platform games. I would if you have another platform that you primarily play on and it's like a 3D game, I would suggest moving on to playing it on a PS4, PS5, an Xbox or
Steam,
or PC.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just common sense. But if it's like a 2D game, I don't think there's any problem with playing it on the Switch, honestly. But like you said, it does nothing for the people it hasn't reached yet, which is you.
Yeah, or even the diehard Switch fans. They're like, it's not enough of an upgrade. Amusingly enough, it's like the PS4 Pro, which was more of an upgrade. But if you already had a PS4, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I never got a PS4 Pro, even though what I really wanted out of a PS4 Pro was the Ultra HD Blu-ray capability, which didn't come around to the PS5, and that's why I want a PS5. So part of the reason why I want a PS5. So other than the game library, I think they have some really strong titles on there now. So I definitely want to move forward with it, but can't find one. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Next, this was really crazy. So basically a day or two after a sealed basically a perfect, almost perfect copy of Legend of Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda, selling for something like 800,000, something like that. Isn't that what it sold for?
I don't remember, but it was something insane.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that, which I get that.
I don't. At least it has the excuse of being 40 years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I get it more. But a copy of Mario 64, a sealed graded copy of Mario 64 sold for $1.5 million, which
sealed is rare even for N64 games, but what pisses me off is that both of these, OG Zelda and Super Mario 64 are
incredibly common.
Yeah, the most common games for the system. Zelda's not the most common, but it's got to be number 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. And Mario 64 is, of course, the most common game.
Yeah, that was what was packed in with the system.
Well, it wasn't, but...
it wasn't one... The N64 didn't do that?
N64 didn't have a pack-in. Not until much later.
All right. Well, you got me there.
I don't think they had a pack-in until Donkey Kong 64.
Okay.
With the jungle green one.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a pack-in before that, unless there was like a like a retail bundle.
Good pack-in, by the way, because that also comes with a RAM cart.
Yeah, no, that was good, and it also came with like a cool looking version of the N64. I still think the jungle green one looks pretty neat. But yeah, this is a lot of the people in the know about this kind of stuff, like the people from like the Video Game History Museum, like Frank Cifaldi and was it Kelsey from Pink Gorilla? They're basically calling shenanigans on this.
Well, yeah, this seems like an artificial attempt to inflate the retro gaming market even more than it already has. I mean, outside of this auction, I don't know if this is actually increased in activity or if I've just heard about it more, but I've been hearing a lot more people submitting their retro games to get formally graded out of 10. There's just a shit ton of that, so it can go from like $50 to like 300 and et cetera, et cetera. It's just absurd.
Yeah, and just like there was a craze like this going about comics about 30 years ago as well.
Yeah. The big collector's boom, which ironically devalued comics because they overproduced for the sake of collecting.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen in this case with video games, because like it's also fighting against its like the physicality is also fighting.
That's the whole thing. You're not going to overproduce physical games in the era where physical games are on the decline. I mean, like
exactly.
The closest you can come to this is the rise in various limited print companies. There's a lot of that going on, but they're not going to oversaturate the market with physical, because the whole thing is that they're limited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even kind of getting mad at that market, because even the more common limited run games, like the ones that even went to Best Buy, are starting to get like so ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah.
For games that digitally are very cheap, you could buy. A lot of the ones are like $15 games. So
yeah, and a lot of the games, these companies, like not most of them, but like a lot of them, every so often they have these like indie games or these like low budget titles or whatever. Like I don't think those actually start commanding high prices, but because like not every limited run game does command a high price. Like people want what they want, but there's still that whole fear of missing out thing. Like, oh, this is your chance to get this title you never heard of and don't actually care about.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, and even I like overlooked some things that like I was like, you know what? Maybe I do want that. So like I was just thinking about the Bloodstained like demake games. Like the ones that look like they're NES games. I was like, okay, well, I kind of missed out on those, and now I kind of want them, right? I went back and I looked at them; they're like $70 now.
Yeah, Ritual of the Night was the regular Bloodstained.
So the Curse of the Moon 1 and 2.
Thank you. I was about to say Circle of the Moon, and that's regular Castlevania.
Yeah. Curse of the Moon 1 and 2 are like $70, and these are $15 games. So like, I'm like, fuck that. I mean,
like the gimmick is that they're good classic Castlevania games, even though they're new.
And I just kind of wanted them on the shelf because I finally got when I backed Bloodstained, I backed the PC version, and I kind of regret that, because like I have the stuff that they gave me, but they never give you like a PC disc with it. And
you don't even honestly, you don't even want a PC disc.
Yeah, and I don't want one. But they did give you some stuff, but it wasn't,
the console stuff was physical. Like I got a physical PS4 copy, but the thing is though, you could get that on the store shelf anyway. The thing that I got that was special was it had a little slip cover.
Yeah, and
like I don't know if you're dead set on that.
I didn't realize I was going to love it so much, and this is coming from somebody who like wanted to see it happen. Like I love Bloodstained after I played it, so I was like, okay, maybe I do want the demake games to go along with it. I later picked up a cheap PS4 copy because they're pretty cheap now. So I picked one up just because I like the game that much. I was like, maybe I want to get the two other ones to go next to it. And I can't get them for like less than $70. I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. And this is from somebody who loves it.
And by the way, I should point out, despite what I've said in previous weeks, I actually just went ahead and slept on the Castlevania collection, because I was like, I'm not gonna play them. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I got that specifically because I really like the posters it comes with. It has like the posters of the like the clean versions of the NES art.
Yes.
And I think that's really neat, and I want to hang it up in my house. And that's part of the reason why I got the Doom one. I wouldn't have gotten
same thing. Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten it if it didn't come with that. And you hardly ever see official posters for that kind of stuff.
Especially for Doom.
Yeah, exactly. So
at least Castlevania, there's some merch in the Konami store.
Well, we even had a discussion that I was like, I think I kind of want the original Doom PC box. And you were like, oh man, expect to pay a lot for that because, first of all, it was a mail order thing, right?
I was just going to mention, yeah, old Doom was shareware.
Mail order only.
Like, yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, like, I just like the box art, like
yeah.
And then I went and tried to buy one, and of course it was like over $100. And, and you were like, see, and I was just like, oh, this sucks. And then I thought to myself, well, why do I want that? And I was like, actually, I really just like the art. So I was kind of hoping that one day maybe I could find, a fan-made poster or something like that.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, official ones. So and it's for for Doom 1, 2, and 3 comes with.
Perfect.
So,
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, getting back to this, some people are saying that the Mario 64 thing even reeks of like money laundering. Because, like money laundering can be done.
Nobody, no collector is like, sure, I'll pay $1.5 million for fucking Mario 64, sealed or not.
It's very odd.
Nobody is doing that. Like, there's got to be something weird here. Nobody is paying $1.5 million.
It's very odd, unless that was like that person's like favoritist thing, and they're
I was gonna say they're the son of royalty, like or like of an oil baron. 1.5 million.
Maybe it was Elon Musk.
Just fucking around. Yeah,
but, like he grew up with Mario 64 or whatever.
He played Wario on SNL. Clearly, he's a super fan. Where he talked with the Mario accent as Wario. He knows exactly what he's doing.
But yeah, it's very suspicious, and it's also not as big of a collectible as like a Super Mario Brothers like sealed or something like that.
Which, by the way, was sold at exorbitant prices, which was under
that.
1.5 mil. Yeah, and that's
I'd much rather have a sealed Super Mario Brothers than a Mario 64.
Yeah, sealed Super Mario Brothers, like that was a pack-in, and because it was, everybody opened it. To find a sealed copy of that is fucking impossible.
Well, not only that, but it didn't come with a box. In the system, they just gave you the cartridge. So like they did sell it outside of the system, but like only for people who bought like the regular version of the system.
The regular version's a little harder to find because I'm more used to seeing the Mario / Duck Hunt. Yeah.
Well, that's basically for the first year, I guess, of the NES. They didn't have a pack in, so I don't. It's basically for people who had it for that first year. I don't know. It's this is odd, and I also am wondering whether the auction is actually going to be fulfilled.
Are they going to pay the money? Are they going to ship the game? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very suspect. So take it with a grain of salt. Like, even the people that know a lot about the value of games are like, this is weird. And
Pat the NES punk had a whole thread about it, and he was like, "Don't give me this bullshit. This game was $200 like 3 years ago."
Yeah, and Pat the NES Punk has actually come out with some pretty neat things to say about this, and I agree with him. He's like, this has gotten really weird and corporatized, and like it sucked out all the fun out of the collecting. And I agree. I mean,
the only thing you can collect now is brand new stuff if you fight people for the pre-orders. But retro, you have what you own. Like, what you already had. That's it. Don't even try going into the retro market and just buying up stuff now.
I have an entire room full of collectibles, and I bought that when it was fun, and I could be like, hey, I really want this $30 item. Or
I was just going to say, like, they weren't collectible back then. You bought it because you wanted to, like, complete a set, or, this game looks interesting.
remember when Holy Grail games were $100?
Yeah.
The most expensive game you could buy was generally like around $100.
Yeah, now pre-orders for
$200
collector's
very
editions are
most.
regularly like $80, and they're only going to go up more because now new games on the shelf because of inflation are 70. I'm not going to blame
Yeah.
them for that, but like now collector's stuff is like 200 for limited editions. It's nuts. Like
The only
back in the
games that
day, I was into horror games. I'm like, oh look, it's a horror game for $10 because nobody cares about horror games, and now they're all exploded.
Yeah, like for instance, all the old games, like for the most part, I have all the old games I've ever wanted. Thankfully, by this point,
Yeah, I can think of a few that I would like, but I'm mostly satisfied.
Yeah, I'm mostly satisfied at this point because I bought them all when they were super cheap.
Yeah, I can think of like. I could think of, like, on one hand, the number of PlayStation 1 games that I kind of have an itch for that are out of reach.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, there are a couple, like, I kind of want a full Konami set. I know it sounds stupid, but I kind of want a full Konami and Ultra set for the NES.
I want, in my case, I don't even know if I want a full FromSoft set, but maybe, like, the stuff from, because the PS2 era was fucking bananas, but like there's certain FromSoft stuff I'd like.
Yeah, so what I would like, I'm only missing a few, and the thing, or like a full Capcom set that would be great. US Konami and Capcom.
Even so, that's a lot. The Mega Man stuff alone is like 100 games.
Well, so I have Mega Man. I have the Mega Man games, and I think the hardest one to get right now is Mega Man 1 because it's so low supply. But like if you're collecting, like one and 6 are the hard ones to find. Yeah, I have actually both Mega Man, and I think I have the Famicom versions. I think I have all the Rockman versions. But anyway, I really would like. I have all of the Ninja Turtle games except for Tournament Fighters for NES. So I kind of want that, not to play it, but to have it.
Yeah, fill out the set. Yeah, no, I mean,
but that's over $100 now because that's a hard to find game. What else do I need Konami wise? I think that's the biggest one. But like, if I went to go do Capcom now, I would like a Mighty Final Fight, and those are worth a ton as well.
Was that the Saturn one? No, that was Revenge, wasn't it?
No, Mighty Final Fight's the NES Final Fight game.
Oh, god damn. Well, yeah, the Saturn was Revenge? Was that it?
Oh, yeah, Final Fight Revenge, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also I have DuckTales 2, but I don't have Chip and Dale 2. I wish I had Chip and Dale 2. I have a Famicom copy of Chip and Dale 2. I wish I had Chip and Dale 2, and that's worth a lot of money now. Actually, it was always worth a lot of money, but
you know what
now
I would
it's
like?
stupid.
You know what I would like is Jojo PS1.
Okay.
Don't care about the Dreamcast one. Jojo PS1, and this would just be me being neurotic. But the Super Famicom game, I have a repro cart and I beat the thing, but official copy.
Yeah. No, I get that. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like the stuff that I want now, I don't even want to play. I just kind of want it as part of my collection, you know.
Yeah, for the PS1 stuff, I would like Kodelka, The Note.
Oh, yeah. What was that second one? The Note?
The Note, which is kind of hard to search up because it's such a generic title.
Yeah.
And Hell Knight, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I have a copy of Hell Knight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Didn't you have The Note back in the day?
I think I do have The Note. Is that PS1 or PS2?
That's PS1.
I probably have it.
I think
is
that was
a
the
PAL
one you
game?
were... Yeah, that was the one
Yeah.
I think you were telling me it's hard to put commands into the game because whether you need the word the or not when you're doing something and the game's
Oh, that's a
sensitive.
PS2 game. That game. That's not PS1.
Oh, well, then I have that wrong. But the Note is still PS1. Then I guess I just had the title wrong and I'm thinking something else.
Yeah, that's the Glass something or other.
Oh, excuse me. My fault then.
That's the one that the Hotel Dusk guys made before Hotel Dusk.
Okay.
Is the one that you're describing.
Got it.
The Glass Rose? Does that sound right?
Yeah, no, that's something like that. Yeah, I was confusing the gameplay thing, but the Note is PS1 for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had a copy of Kodelka back in the day, and I sold it because I was like, I'm never playing this. But it would be interesting. But at this point, I could just play the ROM if I really wanted to play it. But
yeah, I'm interested in Kodelka mainly because it's a sort of spiritual precursor to Shadow Hearts.
Okay. Yeah, I know what it is, but I knew it. See, the thing with RPGs at this point in my life, now that I am in full adult mode, I just turned 35 over the weekend. I do not have time for RPGs like I used to, and when I do play one, it's one a year, and it's like the only game I play, and that's what I'm doing with Yakuza Like a Dragon. So, if I'm playing an RPG, it better be good, because that's the only thing I'm going to have time for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, it's just one of those things. It's Glass Rose. I was correct.
Yeah, there we go.
Kudelka is supposed to be interesting, but like, people don't call it good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's like a piece that you can,
a curiosity.
Yeah, like it's like an educational piece. Like, you know, if you go
Academically.
back and play, like, now that we have Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, going back to Demon Souls can feel kind of rough. It's like, you see, this is how Dark Souls evolved.
Well, the thing is, you are into that, right?
Yeah, no, that's my jam. I will play stuff like that. I don't mind, but like, I get it. Like, there is a reason Kingsfield never took off in the West.
Well, I used to be like you, but I have significant less free time, just in general. So, and I just don't have time for it, because, you know, I have wedding coming up and all that stuff, and to run my house and all that jazz, and I just don't. My job is like 60 hours a week now, so it's really crazy. I just don't have enough time for video games, and I really wish I did. But yeah, we should move on. This sucks. So the Judgment series is apparently in jeopardy as of right now. Mostly because the talent agency of the subject of the character, the main character, he's based off of he is based off of the appearance and voice of a celebrity in Japan, of a boy band, a former boy band member, right?
Yeah, like, some of the Yakuza games have characters who look like they're actors. Like, famously, we talked about this when it happens, but Yakuza 4's remaster has a different Tanimura because of a scandal that had happened with the first guy who played him. So
it's
if
like
you play
cocaine issue.
Yeah, I think it ultimately didn't amount to anything, but his name's been sullied. So the Yakuza 3, or excuse me, the PS3 Yakuza 4 and the PS4 Yakuza 4 Tanimura character looks different. It's like Spider-Man PS4 versus the PS5 version. Like, one looked like original character, and the new version looks like Tom Holland.
Yeah. Well, so apparently this particular talent agency is especially stringent, so much so that they don't allow the image of any of their managed talent to even be on the internet.
Yeah,
like,
did you see that? Did you see that one group photo?
Yeah, like, so
where the one guy is grayed out. He's like a silhouette, like you haven't unlocked him yet as a character.
So, for instance, if you go to try to buy a magazine with one of their talent, one of their members of talent on a magazine that they sanctioned, like the photo shoot and everything, they have replaced all of their photos with silhouettes on all of
these
their
guys are
magazines.
lunatics.
That's fucked up, because I think...
Do you want to sell your fucking guy or not?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, why would you want to buy a magazine without knowing who the hell's on it? Like, that's the whole reason why people are on the front of magazines, is to sell them. So I don't understand the purpose of that. Their claim is that if it's released on the internet, it could be like altered.
Yeah,
but who gives
also,
a shit?
Like, these people don't seem to know like what Steam is.
Yeah,
and
so
they're afraid it's going to be like some pirate thing, even though Steam's been around for like, what, 15 years or something?
No, well, getting back to it, the reason why the series is in jeopardy is they are not agreeing to a PC version of the Judgment games because PC is an open platform and you can modify files like on your personal computer.
Yeah, and meanwhile Sega is like, well, no, Steam's worked out pretty well for us so far.
Yeah, no, they've been doing gangbusters. In fact, Sega's probably in the best spot it's ever been is right now, which is a funny thing to say when we were saying how we thought that Sega hated money like maybe 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They really have done really well for themselves lately, and they've made some really good decisions and also been really good to their fans all at the same time. So it isn't like they just kind of like forgot about the people that have supported them all along. They've really done some great strides in releasing cool things lately, and a lot of like cool stuff from their back catalog that they're finally getting out there. You can there are ways to play Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder now. Like you may not want to buy one of those little arcade machines, but you can.
Yeah.
And, they are selling it. Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is back. It's coming back. So I mean, like they are doing a lot of cool stuff. They remade Panzer Dragoon 2 for God's sakes. I mean, they are doing cool stuff, and they're selling well. All the stuff that they're doing is paying off. Their fans are gobbling it up, and it's all bankrolled off of the success of Yakuza, which just keeps getting better, in my opinion.
And that series struggled in the West in the PS2 and early PS3 eras, but it really took off, and it exploded now that it's multi-platform. It was just like, how Demon's Souls was a niche title because it's PS3 only, but Dark Souls blew up because it's on various consoles and Steam. It's almost like when you have a wider audience, that means more people can buy it.
So, obviously, Sega's just like, well, fuck you then. We'll stop this whole series if you're going to be like that.
Yeah.
So,
so that doesn't mean they have, but
no,
we're worried that's the second game will be the last.
I mean, you could replace the main character and do something else using the same systems. Come on.
You certainly could. I mean, Judgment already is that with Yakuza. What if we just have a different thing going on?
Come on. You could just replace him. Replace the actor just like you would in a movie.
Yeah, with Tanimura.
In a movie, if contract negotiations don't work out, you like James Bond. You could replace the character and make him look different. Who cares? They did that in Iron Man. With the guy who played War Machine, right? And they now have Don Cheadle, and But I mean, this is something that happens when you work with talent, right? And so it's very foolish. So who knows what'll come up? But that company's a bag of dicks. I mean, I seriously don't know. They must have some really good talent. So they have like some sort of power. But they are not working well in a modern environment, because they want so much control over the image of their talent. It's stupid. Moving on from that, there are strong rumors about GTA 6 apparently taking place in a modern Vice City, which is a funny thing to say considering Vice City is unique because it is an 80s city.
Yeah, it's it's very retro, even with your clothing when you play like the main character in Vice City.
Well, the whole point of it is to make it look like Miami Vice, and Scarface, and like everything from the 80s. So I mean, it's a bit weird to say like a modern version of Vice City, but okay. So it looks like Miami, whatever. So it looks like modern day Miami, which isn't as special as 80s Miami, but okay. And they're saying that there are also some rumors going around that we won't see it until 2024. I have dropped hard off of the GTA series, but I know how important it is. I know how well it sells, and like how many people are playing their online functions. I get it, but it's not for me. It's not. It never was. I the last GTA game that I played was Vice City all the way through, and that was it. I was thinking of maybe playing 5 because I know the story is cool, with like Trevor and all that, but I don't know. I wasn't even interested in 5, so or 4. So and San Andreas was like too big for me, I guess. Like there was just too much to do, so I didn't like it as much. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I haven't even played the Red Dead games, and I know how good those are supposed to be, but there's just too much with these big games. I have to pick which ones that I want to spend my time in, and Yakuza's it, man. And you wanted to talk about SGDQ, Lotus?
So Summer Games Done Quick 2021 recently wrapped up, and they raised a ridiculous $2.89, possibly $2.9 million. So
wow,
it
just keeps going up.
It does. It just keeps going up, like little by little. It's freaking amazing.
I really hope it doesn't get corporate.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, the people are like the corporations are going to start noticing how much this brings in, and they're going to fuck it up.
I mean, it's all specifically going to Doctors Without Borders. Like, it's not for them.
I realize that, but they if they could get their grubby hands on a management fees or something,
they would. Yeah.
Or running it.
Let's take a good thing that is literally for charity, and let's make it about me.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's a ton of awesome games being played in it, as you would expect. I mean, I haven't watched all of the runs that I yet want to watch, but of course there's been really good stuff. There's a fantastic co-op run of Super Mario Bros. 3. There was Vanquish. I haven't seen Vanquish yet, but I'm excited about that one just because, like, I don't remember if GDQ's done Vanquish. Maybe it has. There's a fantastic Bayonetta run. That hasn't been on a GDQ for like 8 or 9 years, maybe even longer. It's been a long time since Bayonetta's shown up. So one thing that's cool about games that haven't been on a GDQ for years is that if it's been that long, then the way to beat them fast might have changed. Maybe there's new routes, maybe there's new exploits that have been discovered. So those are always entertaining. Once again, because this was being done remotely, you got to see some stuff that you would never see at the in-person event. So, like, this one guy had a dance game. I forgot what it was called, but you stomp on a pad. But this guy was so charismatic and doing it in a way that it looked more like a dance. Like, it wasn't just what the game required of you, which is to put your foot here at this proper time. He made it look like he was doing like a whole routine. It was amazing.
That's great.
I can't imagine, like, you gotta really be in shape to pull that shit off for an hour, because it was about like 50 minutes of that stuff, and that is exhausting. There was Castlevania. They always have a few Castlevanias. They had Castlevania Bloodlines, Castlevania 64. It's just fun to see those things. One thing that excited me is one person last time. I forgot if it was at AGDQ or if it was last year's SGDQ, but either way, he had done Zelda Wand of Gamelon with all cutscenes. This time, he did Link Faces of Evil with all cutscenes. I hope this person has Zelda's Adventure and does that next time. Zelda's Adventure is the game I really haven't seen.
Yeah, that's the third game, right?
The third one with, like,
digitized graphics?
It looks like, yeah, like, quote, live action. It looks like virtual highlight, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah, it looks even worse.
I mean, it's overhead, but it looks bad. It looks bad. Like Wanda Gamelon and Faces of Evil, the presentation is actually pretty good. I know the cutscenes are a meme, but, like, the gameplay, like, well, not the gameplay, but, like, the game looks pretty decent, and it sounds gorgeous. The music is great in both of those games.
The gameplay's awful, though. even the fixed up version is awful. I couldn't.
Although the player did justify that, like, a lot of people have been playing the Zelda games with, like, the remote control looking CDI controller, which that's not the way to play it. Apparently, with a regular controller, it plays, I don't know about good, but better. But, like, that what's that game called? Zelda's Adventure or something? It just looks bad. Like,
It's
oh
really
man.
terrible.
I'm curious to see if he has that game and if he would be willing to play it for us. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, the third game is talked about even less because it has even less redeeming qualities somehow.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The other games are a meme. Like, those cutscenes are, like, funny. Zelda's Adventure is just kind of there.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of funny is that, like, I think one of the people who worked at the company was Zelda. It's like, here, put this on and just do these scenes in like your like ye old clothing. Like, all right, fine, whatever. That's just kind of funny to me.
It's awful. I've seen even screenshots of it.
I've seen the beginning. Like, it's just like, ugh, no thanks, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like, I can easily imagine, what if we took this idea but made the graphics better, like overhead Zelda, but what if we had it where it looked real? And it's like, that is not what you want. It does not translate on paper the way it appeared in your head. Like, I guarantee it.
Wow.
But yeah, GDQ is a lot of fun. I look forward to watching more runs. Always entertaining to see. They have the usual stuff, competitive runs. One thing I haven't seen yet that I'm curious about is Sonic 3D Blast, which I've seen a bunch of times. But this time it's 2 players, 1 controller. So I'm just interested to see how they coordinate with each other. And one thing that I cannot believe is Super Mario 64 shows up every so often. How do you not have that game in a GDQ? But there is a 70-star blindfolded run. I don't know how the fuck you even get 1 star blindfolded in that game, but apparently this person pulled it off. So I want to see how that works.
Nice.
Yeah, so good times all around.
Nice. Moving on from that, you also had another story that you wanted to.
Yeah, so this was a disaster. Do you know what PixNLove is?
So PixNLove is another limited game company, right? Physical.
Yeah,
but they're mostly focused on PAL region, right?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff they release, I mean, it's on PS4 and Switch, so it's reason free anyway. But yes, they're localized in France, so they've done stuff like they've released.
I know Super Rare is German, right?
Strictly Limited is German.
Limited.
I don't know where Super Rare is located.
Okay, no, you're right.
Yeah,
right.
but PixNLove has released like art books and comprehensive retrospectives, which I would love to buy, but I can't read French. But they also have special editions of some games, like they had a version of Shenmue 3, they had Travis Strikes Again, they had some of the stuff Limited Run Games has, like the that Neo Geo Pocket Color collection.
Sure.
The Samurai Showdown anthology, not anthology, that's a different thing, but the Samurai Showdown collection, like the 1 through 6, sure, whatever that's called. Well, the most recent thing they did was a pre-order for No More Heroes 3. So there was the standard edition, which is just, it's the game. There's the collector's edition, which comes with like a 96-page art book. They do that a bunch. They did that with Resident Evil 2 as well. They had a 90-something page art book. And they had the deluxe edition, which I think it came with the vinyl and Suda 51's autograph.
And these are like potentially like really cool items, especially for like No More Heroes 3 is like a much anticipated game.
Well, yeah, so you'd think they would have known that, wouldn't you? So I mean, obviously they knew there would be hype for it, but like their site isn't used to limited run games level of traffic. So like the day before it was gonna like go up, like the site wasn't even running, and like I think maybe they had bandwidth issues or something, but like you couldn't even go to their site the day before. And the day of, it was so hard. They have 2 different sites. They have like the French version and the English version. Even the French version was tough to get into, but the English version was nearly impossible, and if you could get it to load properly, the No More Heroes 3 stuff wasn't even on the front page. You had to just like know what the link was for each of those editions to go to it, and even if you did that, good luck actually paying for it, because that involves, loading multiple pages in a row. And by the time the site was up and running perfectly smoothly, like you type in the URL and you go there and it just loads, by the time that happened, it had been like over an hour and a quarter after it was supposed to go up. And the deluxe editions were already completely sold out before they appeared on the front page to be easily accessible to click. So, like, either you just knew what the link was based on, like, the French version of the site, or you were, like, some scalper with a bot or something. Like, 100% of people were furious, like, during and after the fact. And what was also rough was PixNLove's, like, radio silence. Because at first, when things were having trouble loading...
That is always the worst policy with things that go wrong.
Well, yeah, because, like, during the fact, they were like, whoa, getting more traffic than we expected. You know, we're working on it. And then that was the last post for, like, the day. And people were like, so what the fuck is happening with this? Why didn't you relocate it to another day to sell this stuff or what? And then the next day, they posted, like, we're getting people's messages and we're going to see if we can respond to them. But, like, that was on the 9th. And we are recording this podcast on the 12th. I haven't seen anything from them since, unless they're DMing people, which
yeah,
I don't know about that. So it was a bad look. Like, I know their site is
as bad as Dispatch Games. Dispatch Games is probably the worst.
Yeah, that's really bad. But yeah, in this case, PixNLove wasn't ready for, like, the huge traffic it got. But, like, for No More Heroes, and considering how much hype there was behind it, they should have been maybe not prepared to have everything flow smoothly, because you got to really have infrastructure for that. But, like, they just weren't prepared, and they let whatever happen. They didn't say, all right, guys, I'm sorry, we're going to have to cancel this and come back. Yeah, like, just whoever got it. I actually had the chance to get the collector's version, the non-autograph version.
Sure.
But I went ahead and let it pass because I'm assuming the art book's in French. So, like, it either doesn't have text, in which case it's just a picture book where I don't care as much, or it's probably in French, so, like, what am I going to do with this? So I passed.
Yeah.
I would have loved Suda51's autograph, but, like, that version was considerably more expensive to the point where I didn't want to pay that much, and I don't care about vinyl.
I have his autograph.
On a foam chainsaw. Yeah, we got it from PAX East. I would love to get Suda51's autograph. Like, I didn't have anything for him to sign because I didn't know he'd be there that year.
Yeah, I wish I even had, like, a copy of Contact or something, you know, just like something weird.
I actually do have Contact, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but I mean, that for him to sign it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would love to get him to sign Michigan Report from Hell as a joke.
Yeah.
No More Heroes definitely. On the Wii. Now that there's the limited run releases, one of those perhaps, that'd be pretty cool.
I would think one of the No More Heroes would be my top priority, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I would love to be able to run into him at PAX or something, but they're not proper guests. So, like, it's not like, oh, we have a guest for the panel. Yeah. They're just kind of there, so I never know what's coming, and it drives me crazy every single time.
Yeah, nuts.
Yeah. But, yeah, so hopefully PixNLove. I don't know what their next release is going to be, because you kind of never really know what they're going to release, which makes them interesting, because their releases are infrequent, but they're cool. But hopefully, whatever it is, they're more prepared, because they were not prepared for this. Because this has never been an issue, even for Resident Evil 2. But this just blew up.
Yeah.
Like, an hour and a quarter in, and you still can't even, like, get the site to work. It was nuts.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, moving on. Let's see here. So this was interesting. So on, like, people found this out through GameFly, but apparently there is a new game called Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl about to be released on the Switch. And people are assuming that it's, like, similar to, like, you know, like PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale or
didn't they have
Smash
something like
Brothers.
that for, like, PS3 or whatever with, like, Johnny Bravo and Dexter and stuff like that?
Well, that's Cartoon Network, but this is Nickelodeon.
True, yeah.
You know, so I think it's possible. I mean, there was even a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles smash up, even made by, like, Smash Brothers people.
They can have, you know what they can do? They can have, oh no, what was it called? This is gonna, you might know this better than I do, because I saw very little Nickelodeon back when I was a kid. Oh, come on. It wasn't the name of the show. It was, like, a segment in the show with, like, the action figures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Action League Now.
Yes! Where, like, they weren't cohesive at all. It was just, like, whatever you had in your room. These are my action heroes. It's like something a little kid. I got a not Barbie. I got a not He-Man. Whatever.
Yeah. And the melted Scuba Man.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like it's who knows how they're gonna do that, but I imagine they're going to be mostly current characters. I mean, maybe a couple classic characters, but
yeah, it depends on how much they're going to lean into nostalgia. Yeah,
I mean, Ren and Stimpy has an aged well because
but there's no way they put Ren and Stimpy in those games anyway. Those are fucked up in the best of circumstances.
Yeah, but they are kind of the face of '90s Nickelodeon, whether you like it or not. They're basically the face of.
They can have a real 13-year-old child from Are You Afraid of the Dark as a playable character, where he just blows that dust on the fire and tells the story.
The live action version of Dora the Explorer.
Oh yeah, the weirdly like
the John
intense
Leguizamo
looking movie.
Yeah. Well,
I forgot about that.
But yeah, who the hell knows? But I could see SpongeBob smacking around some people and maybe some Fairly Odd Parents.
SpongeBob has already had a bunch of action video games. Like, why not? Whatever.
Sure. This was pretty cool. So Retro RGB reported on TIE Fighter Total Conversion Project, which was pretty neat. Did you hear about this at all?
I saw you retweet a thing of it where it showed it looking prettier on modern systems.
So what somebody is working on is a total remake of the classic Lucasfilm game TIE Fighter, which is a much beloved game. It's the sequel to X-Wing, and everybody likes TIE Fighter better because X-Wing is nearly impossible.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I've tried both games. TIE Fighter is no joke. I eventually abandoned it, but like X-Wing is like unfair. Yeah.
It's so hard it might as well just be a broken game. And TIE Fighter is very difficult but rewarding.
Yeah, you could play through it. I couldn't do it, but like you have a chance.
yeah, exactly. Well, there have been many sequels to these games, all the way up to like Star Wars, Rebel
Squadrons.
Yeah. So Squadrons was like the last one, right?
Yeah, the brand new one. Yeah.
So what happened recently was that they somebody's been doing a mod to put this in which one is this? They're looking to put it in X-Wing Alliance, which is it's for X-Wing Alliance, which is the most recent one before Squadrons. So it was like a late 90s game, I believe, or early 2000s game, if I remember right. That was the last like Star Wars flight simulator before the current one, Squadrons. So they are remaking it to be a lot higher. So TIE Fighter was so old that it wasn't even polygons. They were using like
it was like vector.
Yeah, basically, like
it
perspective
like
on sprites to make it work. Kind of like the original Wing Commander was like that as well.
Yeah, so, when OG Star Fox is more advanced than your flight simulator.
Yeah, it wasn't even using polygons. Yeah. So it was using like their like iMuse stuff. So they were basically making it in an adventure game like engine at the time and making it work somehow. But and it was amazing that they could do that. But they wanted it to have like 3D models and stuff like that. So they've remade almost the entire game. It's something like 75% complete or something like that, and has like all of the extra mission objectives if you go down that route to work for the Emperor.
That's the cool thing about TIE Fighter is like this was an era where that didn't happen.
Yeah,
like you play as some guy like a TIE Fighter pilot who's trying to advance in the ranks, and you could sometimes see Darth Vader just at base where he's not like the villain. He's just like, "Hello, I'm observing you," and you're just like, "What?" Like it was so cool for the time.
Yeah, so this game was a landmark game, and for good reason. I mean, it was very cinematic. It had very high production values, and it was a good game on top of it. And there were like branching paths. You could do all kinds of different things in it. So
it was a very like again like the secret objectives like that was crazy.
Yeah, it was very hard, but very rewarding, like I said. So it's pretty neat to see it like get an upgrade. Whether you like the aesthetic better or not, that's up to you. Obviously you're going from, like mid-generation polygons to late sprite work. But like, if you like the sprite work better, obviously this isn't going to work on you. But this is still pretty neat. Moving on from that, this is just real quick. Aksys announced a virtual all Aksys show event, so they're probably going to talk about the newest iteration of Guilty Gear. I can't.
Well, no. This is not Arksys. This is Aksys.
As a publisher. So
yeah, so Aksys
is the U.S. Publishing brand.
Yeah, it has a bunch of like they have a bunch of stuff that like Deathmark, like you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, they do have visual novels nowadays. Yeah, they also handle the what's that series called again? The Jake Hunter visual novels as well.
I didn't even realize that was Aksys, but yes.
yeah. So they've actually released a few recently of Jake Hunter, believe it or not, that have been a lot better than like the original go around.
Yeah, last one I heard about was the 3DS one.
They released one on the Switch that had very little fanfare, but was actually pretty good.
Has that series ever had fanfare? I never heard about it until you mentioned it. I saw it on store shelves one day. I'm like, all right.
Jake Hunter is one of the oldest visual novel.
Well, no, I know it's been around, but has anyone in the West like ever talked about it?
Never.
Yeah.
The only time we ever talked about it because of its unusual history of being localized in the United States.
Yeah.
It was released in terrible form on the original DS, and then they released a better, more complete version of that same game, which you never see that, like boxed, with a fixed up translation and everything. Later on, maybe a year later. And it had like extra missions in it too. So like, they made a comeuppance on it.
That makes me think of that one. I mean, this isn't the same thing, but that makes me think of that one Capcom SNK card fighter on the DS.
Yeah, but
that one was straight up broken. But,
yeah, that was broken, and you had to send in for like a fixed copy of the game. Like this they completely revamped the translation and then re-released it. It wasn't even like a fix. It was like they re-released the game like in better form, which is, you never hear about that. It's extremely expensive to do something like that.
And the closest I can think of is the Yakuza Remastered Collection with what they did with Yakuza 3.
Yeah, but that happened years later, not
it was a long time later. Yeah.
It's weird, but maybe we'll hear more about them. I mean, they're always kind of the underdog in terms of like publishing, but they always bring out interesting stuff. So
that's what I like.
Then we have a new fighter in King of Fighters that got announced. As Ramon, the one-eyed
a new old
guy.
fighter. Yeah, he's the guy with the tiger stripes, like clothing and the luchador fighting style. So again, cool. A classic character. Cool to see him again. He goes into a flurry of combos, jumps back, strikes a pose, goes in for the final drop kick. You'll love to see it.
Sure. Also, this is real crazy. Final Fantasy XIV is getting so goddamn popular that they had to stop selling digital copies of the game.
You cannot buy the game now. You cannot make a new character now. That's insane.
Which is nuts, considering they haven't come out with like a recent content update or anything like that. It's just there hasn't been an expansion. It's just that more and more people are playing it on Twitch and realizing how good that game is.
And maybe they're learning about Nier Automata as well. Get into it. There's even nods to OG Nier. I know I'm deviating from FF14 as a whole, but like, come on.
I mean, this is just a testament to how good the remake of Final Fantasy XIV has been. It is literally the only other MMO other than WoW that can exist on a monthly model.
Yeah.
And it is getting more popular somehow. because it is genuinely, they come up with really good cool content that I'm really interested in hearing about. I obviously don't play, but I hear it.
I like watching
Mr.
Ryu play it.
Yeah, I love watching people play it. I love hearing about the stories.
Yeah, well, they once screen shared it and showed me a bit of the Nier campaign, and I was like, "What?" Like, I've seen the final boss of the FF14 Nier campaign, and it's like, damn, if you know, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that they bring in like classic characters from like early in the series. Like they have Kafka is in there.
Yeah, Kafka. Yeah, he's one of the. But I mean, at the same time though, like he's just below Sephiroth in terms of like the most famous.
Popular.
Yeah, like his Savage rate is fucking bananas. I think I've mentioned this in the cast before, but I saw a YouTube video of how to fight Kafka. It was like an instructional video, and it was like 25-30 minutes long, and there was no fluff. Like, you wanted to watch that whole video.
Oh yeah, like some of these guys take like hours to beat.
Yeah, and that's when you're all however many of you there are, 6 or 8 or whatever, all of you must be a well-oiled, coordinated machine.
Yeah,
even the healers are doing DPS.
Not for me. I'll watch the cutscenes online, thank you. But yeah.
Oh no, you should watch the actual fight. There's so much shit on screen. It's just like, whoa.
What is even happening? Yeah. Exactly. But I get why people like it. So, I guess they're going to have to upgrade their infrastructure because I'm sure they don't want to miss out on the surge in popularity.
What a success story!
That's really cool.
You can't digitally buy the game anymore. Like that's unheard of.
Yeah, I actually feel really good for them, honestly, because I know how much.
They struggled in the beginning.
How much they struggled and how much time and effort they put into making the new version of it good, and it paid off. So, and in spades. So this is really cool. Also, the Death Stranding director's cut features have been announced. So I kind of wanted to go over those because like you probably were wondering what was up with it. First of all, Kojima would rather call it Director's Plus, which makes sense. Basically,
yeah, I was gonna say on one hand, Kojima always has weird names for things, but this actually it's not a director's cut. Like, I couldn't put it in the game. Like this.
No, he made the game the way he wanted
to
at the time. Is what he's trying to say. He says basically a director's cut implies that there was outside influences stopping me from making the game I wanted to make.
And finally I released my true vision, but that's not what happened.
He said he just wanted to add stuff. So, which, makes total sense. So I guess he's kind of like giving Sony a compliment in saying that they didn't fuck with me. That's not the problem.
Because director's cut, like, you get so used to hearing it, you're just like, oh, it means more content. But, like, the actual phrase does have negative implications about people who are not the director.
Yeah, exactly. Like, usually executive producers, like, either speed things along, they didn't have enough a budget, that's another thing, or didn't like the cut, they didn't like the editing process, so they took it into their own hands. I mean, there's a number of things that can happen to a movie post filming that could cause a director to want to go back on it. But I mean, a lot of it in movies is like a director just never got final cut permission, so they didn't get exactly the vision that they wanted from the content that they filmed. But this is pretty cool. You said we would rather call it Director's Plus in a perfect world, but this is a marketing thing, obviously. So, but this is exclusively for PS5, which is a little more than a little disappointing. But
if I want to get this, I'll have to wait 3-4 years. Yeah,
exactly. But it is pretty reasonable. So if you already own a PS4 copy of the game, it's a $10 update.
And I think it will transfer your save file, because like I like Death Stranding fine, but I am not playing that game all the way through a second time. Like that game it's not a game, it's a vibe.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like, you have to be in the right mood because you are just building roads and delivering packages.
Well, apparently they are adding all. He wanted to improve the combat, so apparently there's a lot more like shooting going on.
I actually kind of like the combat felt okay, but it was just like, now I gotta deal with these guys. They're interfering with my route.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is the point. They're muggers.
Yeah, the whole point of the game was to not have a lot of killing going on. It's mostly you're supposed to you're supposed to be getting along with other people in the game, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, those guys will fight you, so you're supposed to avoid them or fight your way through them and just do a bunch of shit while they're out.
But it looks like he's including a lot more ranged combat, kind of stuff going on in the game, and there's going to be a firing range for VR style kind of missions and things like that.
Yeah, that's very different.
A cargo catapult for items that aren't as fragile, which is pretty neat. It's neat looking.
That is kind of cool because like normally what I would do was, when you finally unlock it, like, you'll wonder how you ever got along without it, but when you unlock, like, a truck, and you're just like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I don't have to walk with this on my thighs, jeez.
Or even the motorcycle, like, you could only carry so much stuff. The truck is just, like, the best thing you've ever seen.
A robot buddy that can even lift you and get you out of sticky situations, which is pretty cool. And a racetrack.
Yeah, that's just funny, like Death Stranding parts.
So, I mean, but also it's going to look nicer and sound nicer for those of us who have, the capabilities for that kind of stuff.
One thing I will mention, by the way, play the game on your birthday.
Okay.
Do it.
I missed it.
Change the date in your PS4. It's fine.
I'm not save scumming, man. I'm going to wait for another year for this shit.
I will say, I was very much blindsided when it happened to me.
Moving on from that, Psychonauts 2 was just announced to have a no damage mode, citing that they want to make the game as accessible as possible for everybody who wants to play the game.
Yeah, it makes me think of one of those, maybe it was, Super Mario 3D Land or something, where you could eventually unlock the white Tanuki suit and just go.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, if you want to, it's there.
I was just going to say that the opposite thing. If you don't want to use it, then don't.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Also, I wanted to mention this. I don't know much about it, but Moss Book 2 it has been announced, and I'm excited for that. One of the best VR experiences to date has been Moss, where you play as a little mouse, yeah. And it's a really fun, cool puzzle adventure game. And I really enjoyed my time with it, even though I haven't beaten it yet. It's probably like it's up there with like Half-Life Alyx, and like not even hyperbole. It's up there with like the best, and the Astrobot game as like the best experiences for most VR platforms that are out there. So I'm very happy that there is a sequel in the works, and I showed this one to you, but you obviously know a little bit more about it. So if you'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, surprisingly only a little bit, but yeah, Jojo 6251 or 6251, The World of Hirohiko Araki, is getting an English release, which I'm pretty excited about. Now, this book has been around for years, like a while, like a decade or something, because you could tell because the cover of the book is Josuke from Part 4. That was like
the popular character at the time.
Well, yeah, like the current ones. It was like the early to mid 2000s or something. It's been a while. There was a period where I went on eBay and I bought some Japanese JoJo art books. I actually passed up on this one because I don't even remember why. Maybe it was a little more text heavy or something. I ended up going with JoJo A Go-Go and JoJo Veller later. But hey, dude, if this is coming out in English, now all the more reason for me to get on it. By the way, I did not know this myself until a couple days ago. Do you know why this weird number is the title, 6251?
No, but I'm sure it has something to do with one of the characters.
Surprisingly, no. Though,
Oh.
like, he would, but no. Apparently, this was the number of pages in the manga that had been written and published
That
at
was
that
my
time.
second guess. Yeah.
It's like, okay, but at least it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm into it. I'll look it up.
Nice.
I really hope they translate Jojo Veller at some point, although that'll be more of an undertaking.
Is that like a spinoff?
Jojo Veller was like 3 art books. There was like 1 main art book, but 2 smaller, like horizontal books that had like stands and their information that were at that point current.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after 6251 by a long shot. It was after Jojo A Go-Go, and Jojo A Go-Go like had a teaser of Jolene, who's this mysterious new character. So that was when part 5 was complete. So Jojo Veller was after that.
Gotcha. All right. Last couple things. Black Widow is apparently very good. Apparently the villain is a piece of shit, but also a notable Marvel villain, which is unusual. So like other than Thanos, like there are a lot of like MCU villains. Like a lot of these movies are really good, despite the fact that they don't have the best villains around. Their casts are just so good that they carry them through it. There's notable exceptions. I mean, there's
Loki's the obvious exception, but like my main problem is that I've mentioned this before, but the introduction to each of the heroes is, if they have a dark half, that'll be the villain of their first movie. Yeah. There's no evil Doctor Strange, so we're not doing that. But like, I've said this before, Spider-Man 3 was not MCU, but I think it might have been the start of this. Spider-Man fought Venom, who was evil Spider-Man. Tony Stark fought, like, Iron Man fought bigger Iron Man. Hulk fought bigger Hulk. Captain America fought Captain Germany. That's just straight up what that was.
I mean, he fought the Red Skull.
Who is Captain Germany? He's the super soldier for Germany.
He's not the super soldier. He's
wasn't he? Didn't he get the earlier version of the formula and it fucked up his face?
Oh, I never.
I thought that's what the Red Skull was. It was like the super soldier formula, but like the earlier version, so it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Quite perfectly, right. But he's Captain Germany. He's Captain America, except he's evil. Okay. We got there's more. I know. Thor did not do that. There's no evil Thor. There's Loki. So that's fantastic.
Black Panther has that too.
That's
right?
true. Black Panther has evil Black Panther. Ant-Man had evil Ant-Man. Who was it? The Hornet.
Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket. Excuse me.
So what's funny about that is Yellow Jacket was a later version of Ant-Man.
That's clever.
So So the history of Ant-Man is complicated, but Hank Pym, who is the original Ant-Man, who is played by Kirk Douglas in the movies, Hank Pym in the comics is a piece of shit.
Wait a second. Wait. Wasn't it Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas, I'm sorry.
Because Kirk Douglas is like 300 years old.
Yeah, no, he just died, actually. Well, he just passed away. But, so, Ant-Man was married to the Wasp, right?
Yeah.
And in his original incarnation, Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, and Janet Van Dyne was his assistant, who became his wife. In the comic, Ant-Man eventually became Yellow Jacket, and he is most known for a controversial storyline in the 80s where he ends up beating his wife, like in the comic. And that was a rare thing for like the Comics Code Authority era of comics, like to have something
didn't
that
he, like,
shocking.
smack her in the face or something?
Yeah, or no, like actually, like beat her badly.
Oh, for real? Okay, I was thinking of that one comic panel where he just like hits her in like a mall or something. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact indications of it, but from that point on, he became kind of like an anti-hero, like, because they tried to make him more interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
But in in the movies, they just skip over that because who wants an evil Hank Pym, right?
Yeah.
So they made him a Yellow Jacket, a totally separate character who is also a dick, but not like a wife beater, because the MCU doesn't have stuff like that in it. But the most interesting is that in the Ultimates, when they made the Ultimate version of the Avengers, Hank Pym was so bad that he tried to kill Janet with bug spray.
What the fuck?
Like he turned to normal size and tried to kill her with bug spray as
Jesus.
As you know, the small version of the Wasp.
Yeah.
Miniature version of the Wasp. And then Captain America promptly kicked his ass. And then he turned into Giant Man and made things difficult. But anyway, yeah. So, but anyway.
So back to the Marvel villains being different and interesting.
Yeah, apparently, Black Widow is a good movie with a good villain, and where people are really looking forward to watching it and are really going back in droves back to movie theaters to watch it. I think that this has made something like $80 million so far on the first weekend, which is really...
Yeah, for pandemic, that's amazing.
They broke the post-pandemic records, which is good to see movies returning and with a good movie. So, and a lot of people were worried about this one in particular because it's the first... It's the first movie since Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man was the last MCU movie, I think. Spider-Man 2. Pretty sure.
Well,
yeah, Far From Home. Far From Home was the last one because that was the only one to be post-Endgame. So yeah. Everything's been a show since then. So people have been wondering, there's plenty of stuff that for the MCU to tackle now because obviously they're slowly going to trickle in stuff from other universes now, which is exciting as hell. But yeah, this is really cool. It's also a prequel because the character dies in Endgame. It's no secret now. So it's a prequel. So I think people are also wondering whether they're going to fold her back into the continuity somehow. I'm sure they're trying to do that somehow. So I don't know whether there's something like that in the new movie or not. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I know you've sworn off MCU.
Yeah, I just can't. And the more stuff they release, including shows, the more it becomes impenetrable.
Yeah, see, you don't have to watch it all though. I don't know. I think you could piecemeal it if you really wanted to.
I could, but there's no particular movie that I'm like, this is the one. Closest I can think of is Lovecraftian horror Doctor Strange. That seems interesting in a vacuum.
And that's also by Sam Raimi, so why the hell wouldn't you want to watch that? Yeah. Come on. Also, I think that the new Guardians of the Galaxy will be especially good, but I think you would have a good time with the Guardians movies just because they're kind of off on their own. It was fine. What's that?
I saw the first one. It was fine.
Yeah, the second one's even better if you ask me. But he had a good bad guy in the second one. It's his dad. So
yeah, no, I am aware of that. I've seen clips of it. It looks good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I gotcha. And finally, this is just a quick thing. John Carpenter's Escape from New York turns 40. I just thought it. Why not? Why the hell not? Also, Donkey Kong turned 40. As well.
Also Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
John Carpenter's Escape from New York and Donkey Kong.
So
if you want to see old school Solid Snake, this is the movie for you.
Yeah.
Right down to the voice.
Kurt Russell, one of my favorite actors in general, so I really like seeing him in things, and especially in the 80s and 90s stuff. So
it's just funny, like, watch Escape from New York and watch Big Trouble in Little China and remember that that's the same actor.
And then The Thing.
The Thing. And I never saw this one, but like he was in like an Elvis movie.
Yeah, he was in an Elvis movie and played him pretty well apparently. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Death Proof. Go see Death Proof and then go see Hateful Eight.
I haven't seen those either, actually.
You'll really like them. I mean, especially
I probably would. I mean, I saw the other Death Proof movie, Planet Terror. I saw Planet Terror, but I did not see Death Proof.
Yeah, no, Death Proof might be Tarantino's weakest film, but it's not a bad movie in the slightest.
Sure,
it's just his weakest one, which is
I mean, to be fair though, you're watching Kurt Russell just be charismatic, and that's kind of all you need.
It's a good movie. It's just, for a Quentin Tarantino movie, like, all Quentin Tarantino movies are really special, and that one's the least special, but it's still good. I mean, if you ask me, he's the greatest living filmmaker. So, none of his movies are bad. So, that's been my opinion. So, but yeah,
I would say healthy competition. Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright's up there. And Nolan, Christopher Nolan is up there as well. But
sure,
he has his competition, but I mean, I just think Quentin Tarantino is like the most innovative. Every time he does something, it's like, what is this? Like,
yeah.
Every time, like when he made Inglourious Bastards, it's like,
I was gonna mention
what am I like? How are these guys gonna lose? They don't.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! They shoot Hitler full of holes.
That was a riot in the theater. Nobody saw that one coming.
Yeah. And he managed to do that again with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He did it again. So that means he can never do it again. But
that's the thing. Like, it worked the second time because he wouldn't do two in a row, and that was the trick.
The trick was, when is Marilyn, or not Marilyn Manson?
Charles Manson.
What's that?
Charles Manson.
When is Charles Manson coming? Oh, he doesn't. They kill his buddies with a flamethrower. It's amazing. Oh man, it's so cool. But anyway, that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will be going over kind of an introduction to Tolkien stuff. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, all that kind of jazz. And finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything, and I almost forgot to say that.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, we're getting near the end of Deadly Premonition, the director's cut.
I recently bought a copy of the second game on Switch, by the way.
Yeah, I have it, but just can't play it. If you're interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, including the aforementioned Deadly Premonition, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Okay, we will see everybody next on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.